Good evening. It is December 7th, and this is the meeting of the Board of the Reuben Hoare Library Trustees. I will start off with any public participation, and as no one is here, it's just the board and our director, Sam, and our trustee scribe, Henry Crystal. All right then, so moving right along, do we have any correspondence, Sam?
Yeah, we received a letter from MBLC that we received the first installment of our state aid for $6,447.83.
Okay.
That's all.
And is that like?
That's when we reach the MAR and get certified, they give us state aid every year.
Oh, okay.
It's a gift from the state.
Nice.
Correct. Is that 6,047.84?
6,447.
Thank you.
Are you here for public participation?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay, so Amy Tarlow Lewis has just arrived and is here for public participation. Would you like to come join us at the table?
No, I mean, I can wait for you guys to work through your agenda.
Well, we did public participation first, so we're going to circle back because you're here.
Okay. So, it's Amy Tarlow Lewis from 3 Omega Way, and I just wanted, I'm also helping to write a grant. So I noticed that was on the agenda, so I wanted to talk about the grant I was writing. But also wanted to encourage the trustees to consider potentially hiring an outside consultant to help with some of the work. I think the library project is a really big fundraising ask. It's a $1 million project, and there's a lot of moving pieces to it. There's the ballot piece, and there's the fundraising piece. And I think, just because I'm on that group, it's a lot of work. And I think the town would really benefit from having some outside expertise to kind of offer some guidance. And I think there's some space for using some of the free resources that we have from MBLC and every library, but also getting some outside paid support. I think that would be, the library is such an important project to so many, and so many people, so many volunteers, and so many staff people have worked so hard for so many years. I think, we should really consider that.
Do you have anything to specifically propose by way of ideas or people that you've accessed information from?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to one person, Libby Post, but I know there's a lot of other organizations and people who do provide those outside fundraising services and guide, whether there's two pieces, the guidance around the fundraising piece and then the guidance around the ballot initiative, which are really two separate pieces. I think there are people out there who offer expertise in both, and probably maybe one group or one person that could offer expertise, one person that could do both, or would be two separate consultants. I don't really know what the best path would be, but I think it's something the trustees should consider.
And part of your advocacy for us to consider this now must be based on feedback that you've received about the timeliness of doing it now and not 4, 6, or 8 months from now?
Yeah, well, I guess I have sort of two concerns. One is, there's a lot of planning that goes on in terms of fundraising, and, there's a lot of planning that goes in front of a $1 million ask and a $13 million project for the town. So I think, the earlier we prepare, the better off we are. I know one of the libraries, went up for a vote and the town voted it down. So now there's only 4 on the list. So I don't know if we're gonna get notified sooner, or make the possibility of us getting notified in November even more likely. So, I just feel like things are pressing on, and there's no reason not to start preparing now.
So let me ask, Sam, do you know, based on the down vote, I think it was in Kingston?
Yeah.
And I think there was another library project ahead of ours that was also voted down. I can't remember what town that
I
was
don't know
in.
what town it was. I only heard of one, Kingston. So
Oh, only the
I don't know
Kingston
what
one?
this.
Yeah, as far as I know, there's only one so far, and there were 9 announced this year, so there are 8 others
Okay,
that, I'm not sure if they've all passed or not yet,
okay, all
but they
right.
had until January, so I assume they would have all gone by now. I just haven't heard one way or another.
Okay. Thoughts from the board members?
I will add that when we met with MBLC, Sam and I, they were like, where are you at? What are you doing? Are you doing a feasibility study? Call these people, they're great resources, and I've been on the phone with these people, and the one thing that everybody is saying, and I feel like I'm jumping, but the one thing they're all saying is you have time, but you have no time to lose, and you need to get moving now. And the ballot initiative is one aspect, the fundraising is another, and the public outreach education is another, that involves the librarians, an experience that everybody has when they enter the library, and it's bigger than that, town-wide. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts to it, and I did share with everybody the proposal from Libby Post that sort of details things to consider. So, I mean, I agree that there's just a lot of moving parts, and I don't, and a lot of very specialized expertise.
I think it's just like a good potential return on investment. I don't know, if we don't raise the money, and if the town votes down the library, we have to wait another 5 years. And I think we're worth, the investment. I think, if we're smart about how and where and when and how we balance the free resources with the paid resources, I think it's worth it. So, I mean, there's a lot of competing projects in town. Cricket Lane has just moved forward as a $1 million potential 11-acre parcel, which is important. I think, there's a lot of needs out there, so I think we should do it.
Okay, so when you say I think we should do it being find the MBLC resources, find the Every Library resources, and also you're advocating that the trustees find funding for both the feasibility study and for a consultant.
Yeah. I do.
Okay. And the feasibility study focuses primarily on the fundraising aspect. And you might have a little more information on that as well, if you spoke with this woman, Libby Post.
No, I spoke with a woman from MBLC.
Oh, I'm sorry.
At the building, from the building commission specifically, and she said you should do a feasibility study. So I'm really not, putting out a specific collection of things we should do, but she said you should do a feasibility study, and that is, comes before the fundraising effort, and that sort of assesses the town's ability. It's an estimate how much you can come up with in your town, and it also sort of lays the groundwork. I think it does part of the fundraising work. It has initial contact with donors, and it identifies, I forget exactly what. Actually, Ro is the woman who told me about it, and she is out of the office. I tried to reach her today, but it's something that libraries do before they do fundraising.
Okay.
And I spoke with somebody in West Springfield, and she said they hired fundraisers. The fundraisers insisted they do a feasibility study. The feasibility study costs like $18,000. And from there, they worked with the fundraisers, and they raised $2.1 million.
Wow.
And they ended up paying like $82,000 for $2.1 million.
So my understanding from the fundraising committee is that they don't feel that they need a feasibility study, because a feasibility study will tell them how much money they're likely to raise, which they're already going to raise as much as they can. They're already identifying the major donors. They're already working on their fundraising pyramid. So they don't feel that they need a fundraising study.
A feasibility study, okay.
I think that from my perspective, rather than get caught in the weeds about all the different little things that we could do, my thinking is that the decision to do anything is gonna come to this board. At some point, and that we should be thinking about it and help working through that. I feel like none of this is set in stone, but
Right.
we need to talk about it and we need to think about it. And it is a big lengthy discussion, and maybe we can't have that all tonight. But it's something that needs to be, that we need to talk about. I am gonna see Libby Post on Monday. In, where am I going, Holliston? Hopkinton. She's supposed to be a fantastic speaker, and she's available, you know, on an hourly basis or as, on retainer. And she had some very specific ideas about coordinating our efforts and getting everybody on the same page in a coherent message. And that's one option.
Okay.
So there's a lot of options out there. And I think, you know, it should be a broader discussion when we talk about feasibility study with Jen Banks.
Yeah, and just from my own personal perspective, you know, I volunteer my time to help do some small grant writing and some grant research, which I'm still interested in doing, but I also feel like, you know, I want to sort of also reach out to the MBLC or some organizations just for some guidance or support or whatever, but I don't feel like it's within my purview to start, like, forming outside relationships with some of these support organizations. And so, like, I'm kind of like stuck with sort of like wanting to reach out to some of the organizations and talk to them a little bit more, but feeling like, you know, technically I'm just a volunteer, and, you know, we shouldn't be bombarding them with all these different questions and people kind of from different points of view. So, you know, I feel like I'd like to do a little bit more, and I'm happy to hold a relationship with someone or be a liaison and sort of add that piece to it. But again, like, I don't feel like that's in my purview of doing, and I think sort of identifying some relationships and liaisons can be really helpful.
David?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to thank you for just bringing that to our attention, or just putting it out in front of us, because this is a big subject, and I'd like to thank you for what you've already said so far, and what, especially your comment about there's many moving parts, okay? And there are, you can see that right now. And we don't really have this on our agenda for this evening, so, and like you said, it probably, we couldn't discuss it all this evening. And I would like to propose that we have another meeting this month. And I would propose either the 14th or the 28th, because it is that important that we need to speak about it. But it would run so long tonight, we'd be here after midnight just talking about it. And I don't think we should take up a subject that's serious right now.
Okay. Are people available on the 28th? Are people going away for the holiday week? Or will you be here?
I won't be here on the 28th.
And I was just, you know, in the interest of time, I was just suggesting that, but if it goes after the first, that's fine with me too. It's just it's in the interest of not, you know, it's like she said, we have time, but we have no time.
Right.
That's what they told us 2 years ago too.
Right.
And we managed to catch up, and we don't want to lose what we have, so, yeah, we have time, but we have no time. So that's the only reason I suggested next week or right after Christmas.
And it seems as though the people who are dedicating their time and energy toward the long goal are all really interested and have a lot of good energy and positive enthusiasm to move things forward. But as you were saying, a cohesive, on the same page, perhaps is guided by, you know, someone who's either done this before or someone who has specific expertise, is something we should have a broad, fruitful discussion about. The 14th, I know I can't be present.
It should be when we're all here.
And
so-
Sam can't either, so.
If it takes till after the first of the year, that's just the way it'll have to be. It is Christmas, so, you know,
Right.
we're all really busy. Yeah, and I understand that, and it's just in the interest of saving time, but if it's after New Year's, that's fine, but it should be like right after New Year's.
Well, who could do the 28th apart from Demetria?
I can.
I can.
I can as well.
Well, if you guys have to meet on the 28th, then it's okay. I'm the only one who can't.
I'll be
be
around.
All right, so Sam, would you post a meeting on the 28th with a singular agenda
You-
item
You can't?
I
as,
don't think so. I think I'll be down in New York.
Oh, okay.
as related to coming up with a cohesive plan? And in the next 2 weeks, any proposals or feedback or information that you gather, we can share that with one another and maybe make some decisions about how we're going to then move forward as
Yeah.
of, the new year.
And include the folks that have been doing all the hard work.
Absolutely.
They should
So
be put at that meeting.
we should see and specifically invite, you should be there. It sounds like Jen Banks should be there. Probably Sarah Rombacher should also attend. And perhaps when we all come together at the table, we'll be able to learn some more things about what's out there.
Yeah.
And from there, make some choices as to, as I said, move forward in the new year.
Okay. Yeah.
What's your?
No, that's a good idea. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, just because I was speaking yesterday with the head librarian in West Springfield, who spearheaded the effort there,
Yeah.
and she, it was really a full-time thing for her. I mean, she was in the library, so she was able to be there and do that, but it was an enormous amount of work. And she leaned heavily on, she had like consultants and MBLC. MBLC said, you can call every day. They said you can call 4 times a day. So, I mean, if we've got expertise like that, we need to use it.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah. Are you around to the 28th?
Yes, I am.
Okay, all right. All right,
Okay.
thank you. More to add? Okay. The other piece too is that for yourself and for Jen Banks and for Sarah Rombacher or any other person who is a collaborative stakeholder at this point, if you can bring along anything that we could all have a chance to look at, if we could have it just even a day in advance to make copies for everyone. And I think that anything could be sent electronically to Sam, and
It would be nice if we had homework. Okay, I mean, it's one thing to say we're gonna have a meeting on the 28th, but it's not cool to walk in and say, okay,
let's start reading.
let's talk.
Yeah,
Okay, It'd
I
be nice
agree.
if we could start right in with any kind of information that we could possibly get our hands on between now and the 28th.
Okay, all right, so why don't we use Sam as the conduit for spreading any information that can be gathered in the next 2 weeks? The sooner the better, so that, as David said, we can do our homework over the next 2 weeks and be prepared to have a fruitful discussion then on the 28th. Okay?
So along some of those lines, the fundraising committee has a Google Drive
Okay,
that they will share with us to make it so that we don't violate open meeting law. The trustees will have read-only access to the
Okay.
drive.
Yep.
So we can't comment on anything, we can't discuss anything on there.
sure,
But we will be able to read their work
the
product.
homework. Okay.
So if you have a specific email address you want to use for a Google Drive, send it to me, and I will be sure that that's the one that's added for your permissions to Google.
Okay, all right. I was just thinking about that too. And any conversations that you might have, if you want to reduce it to, a summation of your conversation, that too could be shared on the Google Drive.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
okay.
well. And I'll be talking with 3 more librarians who ran successful campaigns, and I'll share those notes too.
Great,
Okay.
all right.
And I just want to say that people have done incredible work so far. Sarah
Absolutely.
Rambacher, it's
Yeah.
amazing,
Judy
and Jen
Grant,
Banks,
yeah.
and Judy Grant. And, I mean, we've got like the world's best librarians, so I feel like we should do everything we can to support them in this whole effort.
Yeah, The team's just getting bigger. That's a good thing. We'll have consultants and resources and help and expertise to add to the already burning fire of interest in.
There's a lot of people who have done this before,
Yeah.
and they have a lot of valuable lessons to share, and I think
Right.
it's worth listening to them, and getting the guidance from there. There's no reason to have to fumble and struggle when, you know, there can be an easier path
Sure.
for people.
Yeah. All right then.
And I'll also be talking with ethics, just to clarify that, you know, if we were to hire Libby, that's not a violation of ethics, because that's education.
Right. Okay.
So I'll be talking directly to them, so we'll be very careful.
Okay. All right. So let's table our thoughts on this, and all of us little worker bees go out and gather some, you know, some pollen, and then we'll move from there. All right, moving on to the approval of the minutes from our last meeting, which was November 2nd. Thank you, Henry, again, for your comprehensive note-taking.
Remember anything? Being awry in the notes.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said, Mark?
I don't remember any changes.
Okay, I don't either.
So if no one has any changes, I'll make a motion to accept the
Oh,
minutes.
yeah, I'll make a little correction in this, I'm sorry. When I was on vacation in Oregon, the small community
What
that I was
page you want
visiting,
to-
page 2,
Two.
second page.
Yep.
Trustee updates. Made a decision to close their free public library due to lack of funding,
Mm.
not activity, funding.
Hmm.
Other than that, I'm good.
So I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
Second.
All in favor of the meetings as amended?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the treasurer's report, David?
Treasurer's report. One moment, please. Where did I put that? Oh, there it is, right here. Okay. Yes, as of November 30th, our operating fund, the MMDT operating fund, has a balance of $896.23. The building fund, MMDT building fund, has a balance of $348,991.32, with a deposit about to be made of $1,976 even. And that's the treasurer's report. And there's a Barth here too, also. Okay, that we just got today. All right? Everybody can read. And I would make a note that the operating fund, I'm kind of a new treasurer, so I don't know how this works, but in June, the operating fund was $6,800 and change, and right now it's $896, so I guess it would have to be Sam that would say we need more in that, or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so, anyway, that's what the balance is.
Do we need more money in there, Sam?
Yes, we need it.
Okay. Do you have an
Top
estimate
row.
on how much money we need transferred into the MMDT fund?
I don't remember how much you guys usually put in there. I think you guys usually make a deposit in there every year, right?
What do we need money in? Are we spending anything out of that anytime soon?
wait till after the first of the year.
Okay, so we'll check back in with you then at our next, not at the next meeting on the 28th of December, but the January meeting.
January 4th, by the way.
So in the January meeting, we usually vote to take money out of Bartholomew, I think, for the trust funds. So at that time, we might want to say take some money out of the trust funds for MMDT. So at the January meeting, we need to know how much we need to take out, I think, which is whatever we approved last year. So I have a couple things to add to the treasurer's report. One is I've been trying to work with Steve Venuti on how to get a stock donation form to send out to people, so that basically something they can sign and give to their broker that'll allow them to transfer money. So hopefully something will be coming in the next couple days. Also, I talked to Steve and asked what he thought we could take out of the Bartholomew funds every year and maintain growth and the number is between 3% and 4%. I forget the exact number he said, but it was somewhere between 3% and 4%, which in our budget, the amount we have allocated for materials, that 3 to 4% exceeds what we could take out of our book funds. So we'll be touching funds that we can use for other things other than books to pay for materials at the rate that was proposed for FY19. It's not saying that we're depleting our funds, it's just saying we're using funds other than those dedicated for books to pay for materials. So we should figure out what percentage we're comfortable with
Okay.
and stick.
Okay, but what percentage we're comfortable with as per Steve Venuti's financial acumen?
Yes.
Okay.
So he basically said you could take like 3% out of the funds.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say the number's 3%, without affecting your long-term, you still have enough to adjust for inflation.
Yeah.
And the funds on average wouldn't go down every year, right?
Okay. All right.
And I think there's a meeting with Bartholomew next week that I might go to talk some more about some of this.
Okay, great. Anything else relative to the treasurer's report? All set?
Nope, that's it.
Everyone.
Mark handled the rest of it.
Thank you, David.
And you did mention that they're coming next week, Bartholomew, okay.
You need to send me a time.
There wasn't one.
It's gonna make it hard.
He just said they were coming,
Okay.
so.
All right, the next item on the agenda is the Friends report. I attended the Friends meeting on the 15th of November. Were you there? Okay. You're always such a silent soul at these meetings. It felt like the big thing at the meeting was Judy White and Rachel Gallant coming and showing us how very hard they've worked over the last 12 months to come up with wonderful items to sell at the bazaar. I don't know how many of you had a chance to be there, but I went there on the hopes of getting one of Mr. Gallant's cutting boards, and they were long since sold. They were beautiful. It seemed as though for the couple of hours that I worked at the Friends table that they were having quite a lot of sales. However, if you've missed the bazaar last weekend, there is a second chance mini Reuben Hoare Library Bazaar this Saturday from all day, when the library opens until it closes, from 9 to 4.
10 to 4.
10 to 4. There will probably be no cutting boards, however, because those sold out. So no second chance on that. But there were lots of handmade articles and items available, thanks to Judy and Rachel's very hard work. And I certainly feel grateful for the work that they put into their ongoing annual support of the Friends and our library. With respect to other details of the Friends meeting, I was I was so impressed with the cutting boards that I kind of zoned out after that. So, do you have any?
I
Thing to
believe they
add.
voted to make the fundraising committee a subcommittee of their organization. They made a motion and it was approved.
Right.
What else? I read past my bedtime went well, but that was also part of the fundraising committee. They talked about that. Can't remember anything else.
Yeah.
I think it was mostly just about the bazaar coming up.
Right. Okay then. Fundraising committee report.
It's me. So, there have been 2 fundraising committee meetings since the last time we met, one on November 6th, which I attended, and then one on December 4th, which I want to publicly apologize to the fundraising committee. It was here. I did not, I was just, not on my, I was not on my game that night, and I did not go to that meeting, and I apologize, because I should have been there. So I do have the notes that Sarah sent, so I can give you a little bit of an update. They are sort of ongoing, doing some outreach, and trying to sort of get out to folks in town who might be bigger donors. They had that great event, the After Dark event, which the T-shirts, I don't know if the T-shirts are still available, but those are really cool. And the notes that I have here say 55 children attended, which I think is amazing, so congratulations to everybody on that great event. And I don't know if people saw the pictures online, but they were adorable, with the little stuffed animals, getting ready, it's super cute. So I don't, Sam, I see that your name is on this list, so I don't have anything to add to that, but I do apologize to everybody that I was not there in person.
We talked about Jean, she made the $900
Oh, yeah.
at the bazaar.
Yeah, Jean made 900 on the baked goods, and 900, including donations, and about 300 for the T-shirt, so that's about, what's that, 1,200 altogether?
Is it 900 altogether or 1,200 altogether?
I thought it was $900 altogether.
This says 900, including donations, and about 300 for T-shirt sales, but maybe that's supposed to be inclusive. Either way, a good, solid number.
Yeah.
And on Giving Tuesday, a bunch of the friends and fundraising committee members, they went on Facebook and raised some money.
It was a little over $2,000, I think.
Yeah.
It was like 2,300, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know the fundraising committee has started to approach large donors, and they are starting to get some commitments.
That's all I have.
Great. All right, thank you. Trustee updates. We'll start at this end of the table.
Updates. I attended the Read Past Your Bedtime event. That was a lot of fun. It was great to see, all the people that participated, our elected officials who came out to read. It was a lot of fun. And the kids seemed to really love it. Then what else? I went with Sam to meet with the MBLC representative and the architects, but I'll let Sam review that.
Okay.
I can say that the MBLC had some feedback on our existing library.
I'll let Sam handle that.
I wrote it down.
Okay, yeah, you did know, I read it already, too.
You read it already? The public should know. Because these are things that didn't appear in the reports that are written and are up online, and a lot of reasons why we need a new library. It's impossible to work efficiently in the building. They said the shared elevator situation is difficult, and I know we've dealt with the key issue, but it's still a shared elevator. They also use Littleton as an example of why you don't put books in the basement on the lower level. People forget they are there. And this is exactly what we heard at the I Read Past My Bedtime event. Somebody was downstairs and said, "Look at these beautiful cookbooks. I didn't know this was down here." And that was a library user, a regular. So you don't want a 3-story library, you want a 2-story library. Apparently, I didn't know that. They said that the departments are not well connected, there's no flow. It's hard for the staff to manage the third floor. The meeting room is too small. The building was never designed to be a library in the first place. The lighting is poor. And ultimately, they said it's not an efficient or functional space.
Well, that's pretty scathing, huh?
It's scathing.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what else they said? They said, with your new library, how about a new name? They said, who's Reuben Hoare anyway?
That has been bantered about as something to change
Yeah.
with the new space.
So something to consider.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Do you want to wait?
Yeah, the rest of it is my report.
I have been a slacker library trustee this month, so I do not have anything to report. I
Nothing?
wasn't able to attend.
Did you read anything?
Read past your bedtime.
Did you read anything?
You know what, I have used the library.
Excellent.
I have been a library patron this month.
Very good. Well done.
So I have taken the books out of the library. I've used my card, I've used the new website.
No?
You didn't sign anything this month?
I haven't signed anything this month.
Wow.
Well, I've signed books, but that doesn't count.
Well, it's something book
It's
related.
book, not library.
You write them. You write them.
All right, very good.
I'm gonna pass right on.
All right, so I too was at the Read Past My Bedtime program, which was far more fun than I predicted it was going to be. The kids were adorable. The scavenger hunt was a huge hit. The pizzas that were donated from the sub shop were very well received. The t-shirts look great on everyone. Dark blue is everybody's color. We should remember that going forward. They're still available. They would make a lovely stocking stuffer for anyone who reads past their bedtime. I attended the PIE program, the adult program, where a very well-spoken presenter talked about pie and the history of pie. We ate pie. It was delicious and fun. I also baked for the bazaar. I made cookies that I don't think were particularly good, well-selling cookies, but I thought they were tasty. And also volunteered at the Friends Table, which was great to see so many people coming by and supporting the library in that way.
Okay. I also attended I read past my bedtime, and my children had a blast. And I think we should have an I read past my bedtime for adults only, because it was so much fun. We should do it again. I am going to promote something that is not library related, but it is book related, that I help volunteer with. The Russell Street Elementary School is having their fall book fair, and they only have one a year, and that is going on next week, Monday, December 11th, Tuesday, December 12th, and Thursday, December 14th. And all the profit that they make from that book fair goes entirely to paying for teacher and specialist books for their classrooms. They don't take any cash profit at all. So it's a very vital fundraiser for them. It helps put books into the library there in Russell Street and books into the classrooms to promote reading for students. So if you can attend, please do. The reading level isn't just for 3rd through 5th graders. There are a lot of picture books. I was just in there today setting up, so if you missed the Shaker Lane Book Fair and you would like to pick up some books for your preschool to 2nd grader, you should really stop by next week. They have a great selection.
Great, thanks. Mark?
So I was also at Read Past Your Bedtime, way longer than I was expecting it to be. I think the librarians and the volunteers had probably as much fun as the kids did, especially with the stuffed animals.
Yeah. That's fun.
I have also been continuing meeting with FinCom and some Council on Aging folks to discuss the new library project. And the fundraising committee has talked about doing a Read Past Your Bedtime for adults, so
Yes.
you should work with them on that.
Yes.
We're looking for ideas on what to do. So,
Oh, me, okay. Well, I attended the last Council on Aging meeting on the 13th, and it was interesting, being a senior myself, okay? There's a lot of good stuff there. They're in the middle of hiring a director. I know they said that they had 20 applications for director. And I understand now that they have hired an interim director, so I don't know if they've made a final decision on a director yet. But it would be good to meet, whoever it is, as soon as they begin their duties. I met some of the people from the COA board. I met the chairman, Marjorie Payne, and one of my high school classmates is also a member of the board, so that was always nice to catch up with her. And they were talking about, I guess they have a space needs committee, but it's been inactive lately, so they're talking about bringing it back and making it active, so it should be interesting to see who's on that subcommittee and maybe get to hear what their views are and actually find out what it is that they mean when they say space needs. Okay? And that's just about it, but it was a good meeting, and I'll be going to the one next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, Monday?
Whatever day it is.
Monday. The 11th.
I'll be there.
The 11th is Monday.
Hmm?
The 11th is Monday.
Yeah.
Okay. Or is it the 13th? I forget. No, it's 11, I don't know. I'll be there,
Thank
either
you.
way.
Appreciate it. Okay, moving on to Sam and his director's report.
All right. I've hired Tracy Delgado of AIR as our new library assistant. She's replacing Catherine, who was promoted. We received 18 applications and interviewed 4 of the people, and Tracy was the best out of the lot. Andy and Helen and I, we all did the interviews. And she'll start as soon as she gets queried and has her drug tests and everything, so we hope next week.
Great.
The bathroom on the children's room and one of the bathrooms on the second floor have been out for the last weeks. Yeah, so it all started when we were closed on Veterans Day. They flushed the pipes in the entire building, not just the library, and something, when they did that, messed it up, especially with the water pressure. So they've had that company come back out, they've had plumbers, they've been ordering parts, wrong parts were delivered, then new parts were delivered, and the guy was there yesterday all day, didn't fix it but caused a leak into the men's room. So they're still trying to figure it out. Apparently they can't figure out what's wrong, but they're working on it.
It's a building-wide problem.
Yeah, it's the whole building. They've said they made the library a priority because they know the children's room and everything, but it's, I think there's 1 or 2 bathrooms on this side that are out of order as well.
Okay.
Catherine started her maternity leave. She plans to be back in February. As far as I know, she hasn't had the twins yet, but she'll let us know when she does. And the new website is now live and running.
Yeah, it looks great, by
Yeah.
the way. Thank you for all the
Yes.
work that you did to contribute your own expertise toward that. Thank you.
I'll continue what Katie said. The reviewers felt that in the new design, that the large meeting room in the design is too far away from the main entrance. So they suggested that if we do get the grant and it passes, we'll have to go through another schematic design process. So they recommended that when we go through that process, we move the meeting room a little closer to where the main entrance would be. They felt that the weird angles of some of the walls were just too weird, and they wanted to know why. The design calls for a large glass wall in the back, and really no patrons will get to take advantage of it because there's basically stacks on one side and the circ desk, and then there's study room, so they suggested that we kind of move things around. Also, the stacks are all bundled together, and they said it was more of a warehouse feel, and so they suggested that also be moved. They said that the staff workspace upstairs in the main floor was not large enough, and that we needed more bathrooms upstairs. There's 2 large bathrooms downstairs for the meeting room, but upstairs is only like 2 singles.
Oh, okay.
And so they felt we should have more. Yes?
Will the library building committee have to meet when we revisit these
Yeah,
schematics?
Once,
Okay.
once that all happens, yeah. What else was there?
On the subject of the building committee,
Yeah.
when do you think we should, when do you think we should go with, start talking about this? It doesn't seem like it's something that we should necessarily wait for the grant to be awarded. I mean, we don't wanna, I don't wanna wait till the last minute, but I don't wanna also say, let's start tomorrow for something that's not gonna come up till like November.
Yeah, I
Just like
think-
doing it in like, maybe talking about it like June.
Yeah, I
May or
think so,
June.
yeah. Because I doubt we'll hear anything in January, but January is when they would make the next announcement. So if we don't hear anything in January, then I would say June.
Okay.
Oh, January?
Yeah, because the first round is up in January, so they'll know by then who got the grant and who didn't,
Mm-hmm.
so.
Okay.
And then the next thing is financial report. We're doing pretty well, spending down the book budget. We're at 60%. Usually we start spending out of trust in like February, so we're doing pretty well.
Great.
And salary's doing pretty well too. And then the rest is just stats.
Yep.
MDLC changed the way they report stats to us, so if you noticed under circulation for November 2017, there isn't anything. The number is 10,578, if you want to know. That's how many books how many items we circulated this month.
What was it, 10?
10,578.
It should be noted that, yes, last month, the library was closed on November 10th and 11th.
Yep.
So it makes sense that the stats are down.
Has Caleb Church?
Yes, he comes all the time. He's been a big help. Everybody loves having him there. He's been
Terrific.
great. He's been great.
Great, great. So we're not gonna necessarily be
No.
begging him to come in July because.
No, he came today. I think he's coming on Saturday. So
Terrific. I'm
he's been,
glad to hear
he's been
that.
doing real well.
Yeah, great. And do you have, I'm just gonna see where it is. Okay, so 3 new sessions on tutor.com.
Yeah.
It's a free talk to a live person on anything that you might need help with academically.
Yes.
Okay. It is a huge asset that the library is offering, and certainly I have encouraged my own children to give it a look and check it out. So I'm encouraging anyone who doesn't like to sit and do math homework with their children to go on tutor.com and through that, let someone else help your child with their math homework.
Can they do that from home?
Yeah, they can do it from wherever.
Did this schools by any chance get a notice about that?
I did inform the schools that we had it. I know Kelly Quincy sent out something.
Oh,
to the
okay.
principals.
I remember receiving an email. I just don't know if it was from Shaker Lane or Russell Street, but I
Can-
remember.
Can I just throw out something else? I just stumbled across something today when I was looking at different web pages. One of the libraries, I think in Leicester, they have a form on the page where teachers can order materials directly from the library, and the library delivers stuff to the school.
So right now we have pretty good relationships with their teachers that come every year, and they have their own library cards that they use for their classrooms, and they check out books, and delivering it would be the problem. That would take away from staff time, and we don't really have, I don't know how that library does it, but
Yeah, I can ask.
yeah, but yeah, we already have teachers that check out from the library all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
And long-term checkouts that you
Yeah.
can accommodate with the program of,
Right.
yeah, great. Okay.
that was it for me.
All right then. Old business, there's nothing on the agenda bulleted under old business? Is there nothing old?
Not that I could think of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else that any of you can think of?
What, yeah, well, just one question on Sam's report. Did they, you might have mentioned this when I was looking at something else. It said that the current library, our library, is not ADA compliant. Did they happen to mention what it was? Just curious.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Did they happen to mention why it wasn't ADA?
Oh, well, the elevator
Yeah.
isn't large enough. There's not enough space between the shelves. The stairs are terrible when you first enter the building from the main entrance. The chairlift isn't large enough either. I think those are the main things. The lighting's poor, so if someone has poor eyesight, it's not good for them.
Isn't the size of the children's room also an ADA issue? It's not, based on how many kids that are going in there, it's not big enough. I think I remember reading that in one of the reports.
I don't think I've heard that. I know the shelving units are too close together. That's one of the things we're gonna be working on.
Just trying to get to the bathroom in the
Right.
children's department is an issue.
Right.
Right, and
Yeah,
in a
peop-
wheelchair.
People are starting to complain,
Yeah.
you know. Well, no,
Well, the
not-
bathroom's
not
broken,
complain.
so no one's going there anyhow. That's how we fix that problem. Okay, so moving on to new business then, the holiday bazaar. Did we talk about it to death
Yeah,
already?
I think so.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Do we know, I heard what Chris had to say about the cookie T-shirt sale. Do you know how our friends did?
Only partially. The Friends made about $400 off of the book sales,
Okay.
but I don't know how much the quilting homemade stuff brought in.
Right.
I do not know that.
Okay. And second chance on Saturday all day long to get the things you might have missed.
But no cutting boards.
But no cutting boards. All right then. The next item is campaign workshop attendance at MBLC/library consultant.
I think we sort of talked about that already too.
Yeah.
With respect to what Amy shared and the
Right.
conversation
And what
from that. Okay.
Caitlin-
And in many ways, that's being more fully discussed on the 28th.
Right.
Oh, the book movers. The strong and expensive book movers.
Yes, so as you all know, we did decide to get new bookcases in the children's room, but we will have to move all the books out for a short period of time and then move them all back in. I did get a quote for that, and it would come out to $3,650. I honestly think we should do it. I realize you guys want to lend out your kids to volunteer and everything, but it's a lot of work. There's over 15,000 books. Getting them all out in order, putting them all back in, I think these people are professionals, and I think they can get it done quickly. And plus, there are liability issues. If one of your kids gets hurt, you know.
I wouldn't sue you. But two questions though. One, did we look at the inmates possibly being able to be used to? No?
No.
They.
I honestly don't feel comfortable. Like, it's
Okay.
one thing with them going to the Cooper
No.
room and back, but to
Okay.
go through the whole building and, you know, not that I think anything would happen, but it's.
And number two, in moving these books ourselves, would it be beneficial because we could also weed out ones that?
They've been reading them
They have?
for the
Yeah.
last month.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
really?
waiting.
So they're trying to pare it down now,
They're paring
Okay.
down.
readying for the
Okay.
move.
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
Also, I might add that in the full proposal, which isn't here, it may mention it, they're bringing in 53 carts. We have about 6.
Right.
Okay, which means whatever you put on the cart, you gotta take downstairs and take off. Okay, and then you gotta come back up again. All right, and I don't see us doing it as feasible at all.
All right, so I can entertain a motion that we pay for it.
So I'll add a couple things on this. So you, I think, were involved too before, when we had to go through and re-barcode all of the books. So you had to take every book off the shelf and put a new barcode on and put them back on. That was also hard to make sure that you got all the books off and on in the right order. And this
Right.
is even more. So I'm fine with paying for this, but what I'd like to see in addition to this is just what actually are we moving and what are we doing for the week that the library, the upstairs children's room will be closed. What are we doing for a children's room for that week? Where are we putting the books? How are we maintaining some kind of children's room function during the process?
Yeah, that's what I've been exploring. When I spoke to them, they said they're going to need the Cooper room to store the books. So originally my plan was just to make the Cooper room into a temporary children's room, but that doesn't look like it's feasible.
Why can't we pick a couple places and store
I have a
them?
suggestion.
We could do
Alright.
that too.
Somebody mentioned a pod.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought about a pod too.
They're was it $129
Yeah, for like a month.
for a month?
So I don't, it would
So
be like a
we
week.
need a pod for a week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we can take all those carts, right, and bring them out and put them in this pod for a week, and have the Cooper room to be some kind of a children's room. Okay, you could bring a selection of books down there, all right, some of the toys and games and whatever not, and
Right.
maybe we can set up a laptop, but I recommend, if we're gonna do this whole thing, then for another $129, we get a pod, right, and the books will go in the pod.
Or we figure out how to move the books around in the children's room or in other places in the library, that we should be able to stash them somewhere. I mean, if we're saying that we don't need to make them publicly accessible. It'd be nice if some of them were librarian accessible, but if we can't do that, we can live with that too, because I mean, we could move the table out of the small meeting room and just fill it with carts, right? And I bet you quite a few carts will fit in there, and, we have the storage area that's now cleaned out. You could, unclean it out for the week, right? Effectively, and just start piling. If the books don't have to be publicly accessible, and if we can take up a lot more space in different areas for them, right? But
Who knows, we have a basement floor.
That's
It was a
true.
joke.
Joya's old office. But, I mean, I don't know that they all have to, we also have to figure out what it means for the children's room to be closed. I mean, obviously, the public can't go up there, but staff should still be
Yeah, staff can
accessible. So we only have to move one set of books out, right? And then figure out where to stash them. So I just want to see a general plan on how we're going to maintain some functionality somewhere,
Right. Okay.
so.
When is this gonna happen?
They need like 6 weeks, so we're thinking February.
Not February vacation, though. Okay.
And not Love Your Library Week.
When is February vacation?
In February,
It's-
obviously.
it's
I don't-
President's Day
I don't know-
weekend.
I don't
You
know
schedule
when
it for the week before or the week after in
Right.
February?
Yeah.
When's,
Probably the week after makes better sense,
Yeah.
because people like to load up on books.
yes, so when's February vacation?
It's the President's Day weekend,
The
usually
third
around the
week.
17th.
It ends the 26th, I think.
I mean, we need to be sure of that by when you confirm.
Yeah, so
when
the
it is.
vacation week is Monday, the 19th through Friday, the 23rd. So maybe if they could come in on the 26th?
We
February
probably
20th.
also need to reserve the Coop room for the week to make it a
So
children's
that-
room.
that'll go-
I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces.
Yes, yes, yes.
That we
Yep.
just need to figure out, and
If we get a pod, is snow going to affect the ability to move the books out of the library into the pod? That's what we would have to consider.
I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. February is a big snow month.
Yep.
So if we get a pod, is that going to affect these movers, moving the books to the outside if we have a couple of snowstorms?
It shouldn't, because that's what they're paid to do.
Okay.
I'm sure they've dealt with that before.
so I'll make a motion that we allocate up to $4,000 from the MMDT account to pay for the relocation and a potential pod if necessary.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we'll have to put $4,000 into the.
Before we can pay for it, yes.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things to put down on the list of
Yeah.
MDT transfer funds. All right. Thank you. Super Saturday, tell us all about that, Sam.
All right, so Super Saturday is coming up on the 16th, and we are scheduled to go up at 10:40 a.m. So I have no problem.
I'll be there.
Going. I don't know
Yeah.
who else.
I plan to be there.
Okay.
That's all. That was fun.
Super Saturday, it's when all of the departments go before the Board of Selectmen and
Oh.
members, I think of FinCom as
FinCom.
well, or
Yeah.
maybe it's everyone, FinCom and BOS, to share their hopes and dreams, and then also,
Get squashed.
and also be told your hopes and dreams, as laudable as they are, need to be reasonable when it comes to finances. So give us your level funded budget and your mission funded, so.
What date is that again? I'm sorry.
Saturday the
Saturday
16th.
16th.
We're at 10:40 a.m.
Who are our FinCom reps this year? Who came to talk to you?
Steve Moore,
Oh, good.
and I can't remember the other guy's name.
Tom?
Yeah, I think it might have been Tom.
Or
For my notes, who's going from here? Sam?
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Now, if you have more than 3, is that considered a quorum, or,
No, four is a quorum.
okay.
You just can't deliberate.
Right.
You can be there.
We can all be together,
Yeah.
we just can't talk to each
Can't
other.
speak.
I'm not certain at this time, but I would be interested in going if.
It's
My
an
schedule's
interesting
open.
process,
Right,
and,
right.
and you get what, 20 minutes?
Yeah, like
8 minutes?
Right, okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right, any other board matters that we would like to touch on before we adjourn at 8:34, folks? It's one of those nights. No? Okay then, well, thank you.
I'm sorry, just reiterate the date for our next meeting,
Yes, so December 28th at
7:30?
7:30.
And that does not replace the January 4th meeting.
It does not.
This is extra meeting.
That's an extra fun time. I'll
Extra
have to make
bonus.
twice as many cookies. Amy, cookie?
No, thank you.
All right,
Motion to adjourn? Were we ready?
are we ready to adjourn? All right, moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.